This is Crown Royal IROC 28, and when you're chasing $1 million, every inch of racetrack counts. There it is, way down to the inside. There's the move. Kurt Busch with Ryan Newman on the outside. Jimmy Johnson and Steve Kinzer, but it's 4-on-2. They fan out with Busch trying to block to the bottom. Pushes that car down to the inside of the racetrack, but Newman squeezes through. Newman with the first win, round 1 at Daytona, but Texas was a different story. Danny Lasowski is going to wire round 2 of Crown Royal IROC 28. The dude did his green to checker donuts for the World of Outlaws contingent. And now, for the first time in Crown Royal IROC history, a short track race. The points are deadlocked and only 2 races remain in the quest for the million. We come to a track where many of these 12 drivers cut their teeth. Tracks just like this one, Richmond International Raceway, the Crown Royal IROC Series in its 28th year at its halfway point. And the crowd expects a battle, and they will get one from 12 of the best in the business. Knotted at the top of the point standings, and that means at the back of the grid, Kevin Harvick and Ryan Newman tied for the point lead, just 1 ahead of Danny Lasowski and Jimmy Johnson. Let's go to the back of the grid. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Both drivers chasing $1 million, and both drivers will start tonight back here in the back of the grid. Now, Kevin Harvick, forward champion. How are you going to get this car to the front?
Well, I figure it's just going to be like the go-kart track. They make us start in the back when we go race with the crew. We'll just kind of pinball our way up through there, but it should be a lot of fun. We'll go out and have a good time and race as hard as we can.
Now, Ryan Newman also tied for the championship standings. Now, not like your Cup car. Do you have to set up the pass differently here in Richmond in the IROC car?
Well, the biggest thing is the cars are equal, so what you have at your advantage is just your skill and being able to maneuver your car and work the pedals and the steering wheel the best of your ability to try to get a run and try to finish off a run. So we'll see how that works and how the drivers can adapt, both the IRL and open wheel guys and the Cup guys here at Richmond.
A historical night in the 28-year history of the Crown Royal International Race of Champions. And I am Matt Yoakum, and Mike, this is the 16th different venue and a special and historical one.
Thanks, Matt. Ask Kevin if he wants you to help him drive.
Get back in the car, Harvick.
Hi, everybody. I'm with Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond, and this is going to be a night of history and, we think, of flailing fiberglass.
There is no question, but you figure in 28 years, these cars have never raced on a track shorter than a mile. Throw in the element of the points leader start at the rear. I heard one driver say there definitely will be the most exciting race that the NASCAR fans have ever witnessed in IROC, but it'll probably be the most frustrating race that the IROC body men have ever seen.
Yeah, Larry, when you talk about that right there, being in a short track, there'll be definitely a lot of beating and banging. Kevin Harvick's already talked about that, but for the guy who wants to get to victory lane today and have a chance to capitalize on this $1 million at the end of the year, he's got to save his brakes. That's right. This place is really hard on brakes, and these brakes on these cars work extremely good. Float the car down in the corner, save your tires, and try to keep the front fenders on it, guys.
The 12 drivers will start in the inverse of their point standing position. So J.J. Yaley, representing USAC, starts alongside Scott Dixon in row 1. Scott Sharp shares row 2 with the defending Cup champ Matt Kenseth. Row 3, and they'll all be carrying their car numbers and colors like the cars and trucks they drive in the case of Travis Kvapil and Elio Castroneves. Steve Kinzer skipping an outlaw race tonight in California to be here, and Kurt Busch, and of course the 97. Row 5, Jimmy Johnson, number 48, and Danny Lasowski from the World of Outlaws, the Texas race winner. And then the last row, tied for the point lead, Ryan Newman and Kevin Harvick. Now, Yaley and Johnson missed practice. They weren't here in time to practice these identically prepared cars, so they will go to the tail end for the start. Speed Channel's exclusive live coverage of the Crown Royal IROC Series from Richmond is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion. Drink responsibly. So much has happened in this series since October 1973, when Mark Donohue, driving a Porsche, won on the road course of Riverside, California. In fact, all 4 races in IROC 1 were road circuit races, including the Daytona finale. Now, for the first time, the series hits an oval short track, and there is Kevin Harvick from the last row.
And what did he say? He's going to be the pinball king right now, getting ready to come up through this field.
And a look back from Kurt Busch at Jimmy Johnson. and Danny Lasowski. Here's Elio Castroneves. Now we're up on the roof of Castroneves' car. Can't wait till we go inside and see what he saw when he climbed aboard that machine. There was a special greeting waiting for him, and it's gone. His mirror had been decorated on a couple of Castroneves' cars. There's Travis Quaffle. And what do you see Castroneves' mirror? It has been Sharpie.
Yes, it had. A little message put up there for him. Now, this is 90 laps of green flag racing. No pit stops. These drivers have no spotters. The only radio communication they have is with the crews to tell them if they have a flat tire or something, and race control to tell them if there's a caution or there any type of problem on the racetrack.
Now, the back row was scheduled to be Newman and Harvick, the point leaders, but Yaley's gone to the tail end with Jimmy Johnson, moving the point leaders to row 5. Green flag. Crown Royal IROC 28, round 3. $1 million at the end of the rainbow. 90 laps.
And there is no question Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, Ryan Newman in the 12. They're going to try to make their move early. They're 2 by 2, 3 wide down the back straightaway.
3 wide, but right now Scott Sharp is out front, and he's looking to try to distance himself away from these guys before they get to beating on his back bumper too soon.
3 abreast off turn 4. I didn't think you could do that here.
Ryan Newman in the 12 car is already up to the 4th position, the blue car right there.
What did Harvick say? He was going to pinball his way up through the field?
The guy you might want to watch is that yellow car, the 17 on it. That's Matt Kenseth. He's got a lot of experience on these short tracks, and they say he was really good in practice the other day, talking to some of the IROC officials.
Now, Danny Lasowski has dropped back to tail end of the field, along with J.J. Yaley.
Harvick in the 29 car to the inside of Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Goes up to about the 5th position. Riding with Kevin Harvick right here, looking back at Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. He's made it about halfway up through the field so far.
But Newman, coming up to 3rd from what turned out to be the 5th row on the initial start, has been the story of these first few laps. There is Ryan. Ryan carrying his familiar number 12 from Nextel Cup.
Well, Mike, don't tell Scott Sharp. I think if he looks in his rearview mirror, he's going to get ready to have some company in the form of Matt Kenseth as he's getting ready to close in, maybe challenge for this lead here, maybe coming up off of turn 4.
A lot of these guys would love to get up there and lead some laps. There's not bonus points for leading a lap, but you have the bonus points for leading the most laps. 5 points for leading the most, 3 points the second most, and second for the third most. Very important points in this series.
Will be 5 laps in when they come around, and the most surprising thing to me has been the lack of contact so far.
Don't speak too soon, though, Mike. Matt Kenseth in that yellow 17. He pulls to the inside of Scott Sharp in the 8 car. He's going to take the lead into turn 1.
Going to take Newman with him.
Yeah, I was going to say Scott Sharp moved back up to give Matt a little bit of room. The next thing you know, Ryan Newman jumped right in there. Matt Yoakum.
Jeff Dave Marcus, one of the test drivers for the Crown Royal IROC Series, told a lot of the drivers you have to treat those fenders like they are your friends. If you damage your fenders, you're going to develop a bad push. Everyone knows this race is 90 laps, and there will be a competition yellow, and that's one thing Lasowski's doing, trying to take care of that right front tire as well.
And that's why Lasowski trails this field.
A little bit of strategy early on, and again, he goes back and talks about Dave Marcus. And Larry, you and I talked to Dave today. A lot of these guys have been coming to this veteran and talking to him about exactly what Matt was talking about. Save that right front tire. Don't abuse this car, and in the end, it'll pay off.
In fact, they have a 2-seater practice car. Dave said they were lined up to make laps with him in that 2-seater practice car.
Close quarters as Jimmy Johnson pulls to the inside on Dixon. 5th place. There was only one driver who had any incidents during practice, and that was Elio Castroneves, who kissed the wall, as he described it. Liked it so much, he went back out and did it again.
Yeah, what was so funny about that, you talk about Elio Castroneves, he came in and he was telling the IROC officials, hey, when you talk to the reporters, don't tell them that I hit the wall. Tell them I kissed the wall, and I kissed it very gently. Later on, he did it again. Well, I liked it so much, I went back and I wanted to kiss it one more time.
See Jimmy Johnson right there in the 48 car, the blue car, pulling inside of Scott Sharp in the 8 car that he's going to take away the 4th position. You know, just a second ago, we were riding with Kevin Harvick, and he's not made that big of a gain here in the last few laps, but I just wonder if this is part of the strategy. Dave Marcus, we talked about him, and Kevin Harvick knows it, that you can't abuse these tires. If you ever abuse the right front tire or the right rear tire, it will not come back with you. And this is the tire that the Nextel Cup cars ran last year.
Have Newman and Kenseth forgotten that? I mean, they're running really hard, Jeff.
They really look like they are, Mike, as far as, but the field is very patient right now. They're just kind of keeping these guys in sight. And if you notice, behind Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, followed by Kurt Busch, as well as, it looks to me like in fourth place, Jimmy Johnson. All these guys are Nextel Cup drivers, so they should understand to be patient.
USAC versus the Outlaws. J.J. Yaley moves underneath Steve Kinzer, who has skipped tonight's Outlaw race at Chico, California. White Dana is out there supervising the Kinzer operation for son Craig, and there's Lasowski right on the bumper. You don't get to say he's on the bumper of Steve Kinzer very often during a season, but here he is.
And Danny Lasowski now, he is tail end of the field. Remember, after winning Texas, he comes into this race third in the points, but right now he's back in 12th position in that 20 car. And just remember, guys, this race pays nothing. It's all at the end of the series, $1 million to win.
All or nothing, guys. It's real easy to figure that out.
And the drop-off from first to second in the payoff chart is free fall. It's deep. Matt Kenseth, our leader, from Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Scott Sharp, and Scott Dixon. Speed Channel Live coverage continues tonight right here from Richmond, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Jamie McMurray and Ted Musgrave will lead the field down to the green. Tony Stewart's back in a truck looking for win number 3, and it all comes up at 8:30 Eastern Time, only on Speed. That would be next. Matt Kenseth is still our leader. Behind him, everything has changed. Kurt Busch is now second. Jimmy Johnson's third. Ryan Newman back to fourth. Scott Sharp continues to hold off Scott Dixon. Castor Nevis has passed Harvick and Quaffle. J.J. Yaley is 10th, and Lasowski has made his move. He's up to 11th. Let's show you what happened.
This like to have been big a while ago. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car on the outside, trying to go around Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon's car moved up just a little bit, and we almost had our first caution.
Yeah, I'd say he was the pinball, and Dixon was the flipper.
Yeah, Scott Dixon cars, the one car got real loose. It got up into Kevin Harvick.
Jeff, even on the short track, in these cars, if you lose your momentum, you lose a lot of distance.
Yeah, you really do. You lose a lot of distance right there. So Kevin now has to kind of get back and get his rhythm going and make it kind of work his way back toward the front.
And guys, that's one thing about the IROC series. Unlike Steve Kinzer and Daniel Lasowski, who don't use spotters in their form of racing, most of these drivers are all used to hearing a spotter say clear high, clear low. And that's just one of those incidents where these drivers in IROC do not have spotters. They are on their own.
They do have radios in the car, but for very limited purpose.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the opening. They can talk to the crew, Jay Signor and the people in the pits, basically to tell them if their car's in trouble, lose a cylinder or have a flat tire. Then race control is talking to the entire group of drivers simply to tell them if there's a caution or how many laps left to go. As we see Steve Kinzer in the green 11 car has slowed on the racetrack. We stay green, though, as he gets down on the apron. So troubles for Steve Kinzer here on lap 24.
Once Lasowski passed him, Jeff, he kind of lost touch with the pack.
He really did, but I've been watching his lap times, Mike, and he'd been slowing down lap and lap and lap after lap. And when Danny made the move, I mean, all of a sudden it's like somebody pulled a spark plug off. He slowed down almost 3/4 of a second, so it looks like he's going to be bringing his car to pit road.
Mike, you talked about these cars losing their momentum. These cars don't make the 750, 800 horsepower. They're only 500 horsepower motors with a 390 carburetor. Takes a while to recover on a straightaway if you have to really get out of the throttle. But I mentioned a while ago, they are running last year's Goodyear tire, a much harder tire. And what Dave Marcus told us that did a lot of the testing of these cars is about lap 35 to 40 is where these tires really start to come in and feel the best as long as you have not abused them early in the race.
A look at Kurt Busch, who is pulling third and fourth place with him up toward the leader. One win since we saw him in IROC round 2 at Texas.
As
They haven't caught Matt Kenseth, but they're working on it.
And as we watch Matt Kenseth in the yellow 17-car lead, remember, he has a lot of ground to make up. He comes into this race halfway through this series, only 9th in points, so leading all these laps certainly can help his cause.
Steve Kinzer in the pits with the hood up. Matt, what's up?
IROC crew chief Jim Meister stuck his head in the window. Kinzer says something amiss in the engine area. Walt Smolinski, the head of the engine department at IROC, looking things over, but his chance for another IROC victory done.
And Matt, they do not turn these engines a lot of RPMs like we've been hearing in Nextel Cup and Busch. Maximum power on these engines is at about 7,500 RPM, so not all of those RPMs we see in the NASCAR boys.
Well, Matt Kenseth, Larry, has turned it up. He's got his advantage back up to 1 second over this battle. Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
You know, the one thing that Dave Marcus also stressed us that the NASCAR boys had to get the most used to, these things have carbon brakes. They stop on a dime, and you have to learn not to use a lot of brake here. You get on the brake just for a second, and you get off and let the car roll. And he said that was quite a challenge for guys like Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Newman, and those boys.
Yeah, they're so used to the way that their cars are designed and the types of brakes that they race on their Nextel Cup cars or Busch cars, it reacts totally different. And one of the main comments that they were telling Jason Norrie and George, his brother, is the fact these cars have responded so differently on this short track than what they were used to at Texas or Daytona or any other place that they had driven them. And it's been a real pleasure so far to have this kind of feel that they've been real excited about waiting for the night.
Behind Kenseth by 1 second. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Ryan Newman keeping pace with them. The next good battle is about a quarter of the way around the racetrack. And here it comes. Scott Sharp, Scott Dixon, Castroneves, and Harvick. But Harvick had that one bobble off of Dixon and just hasn't been able to gain any ground.
And right now, Kevin Harvick is getting close to being about a half a lap down. But these guys know about lap 60, they'll get that competition caution. So if you're not up there, save your tires. Just make sure you don't go a lap down in this first 60 laps.
But the one thing I'm wondering about Kevin Harvick, guys, that lick that he took from Scott Dixon hit him pretty much in the front tire. I know, just wonder if it knocked the toe end out just a little bit, and it's affecting the way his car's working.
Let's listen here off turn 2. Smooth off of 2. I heard off turn 4. Harvick got in the gas, had to get out of it, get back in it again. So I think you're right, Jeff. That car's not quite handling like he'd like.
And the tendency, we see Steve Kinzer in the 11 car right now is back out on the racetrack. He's 9 laps down. The tendency of these cars, they carry 35 gallons of fuel. The more fuel they burn off, they gain nose weight, and they tend to get tighter and tighter, not turn off the corner. And when they won't turn with a radial tire, the only option you have is to roll back out of the throttle, slow the car down to get it to turn.
There is Danny Lasowski. He is 11th, and he may find himself in danger of losing a lap to Matt Kenseth before we get to the comp yellow 25 laps from now. NASCAR Live from Richmond tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Get all the news from where it's being made. Richmond International Raceway. As the chase to the chase. It's pay dirt. We're under caution here in the 3rd round of IROC. Either Danny Lasowski had a big problem in turn 2, or he saw Matt Kenseth coming and he did racing's version of drawing the offensive foul. Not
he
sure
was
which.
in verge of going a lap down. You see Matt Kenseth right there behind him. But remember, just like in NASCAR, when the caution comes out, the field is frozen. Riding with Kurt Busch here in the 97 car, you can see it happen right in front of him. You see the caution lights come on. Well, what they do, though, when the caution comes out, they go back to the last completed lap.
So, no harm, no foul. And on top of that, guys, don't forget, Larry, we found out today that in the IROC garage area, the tires they put on Danny Lasowski's car, they will probably have approximately 35 laps on them. So he will not get an unfair advantage from 4 brand new tires.
So, Matt, did the dude snooker him?
The dude told IROC that the car just got away from him. He's not really sure what happened. And Jeff, you are correct. In IROC, what they try to do when they're here practicing, they try to set up different sets of tires for how many laps someone may have to pit during the race. Now, if the entire field has to pit, they've got about a 6-lap scuff sets for the entire field. But if someone just has to pit by themselves, like you mentioned, they've got 30 lap sets of tires, 45 lap set of scuffs. So he's going to get a lap 35 set of scuffs, but the dude's not sure what happened.
So whether by trouble, luck, or intent, Danny Lasowski has created his own free pass, and he'll be right up there with the pack when we get a restart.
They may have 35 laps on them, but they're cold, and cold tires are good.
Speed Channel's coverage of Crown Royal IROC Series from Richmond is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion, drink responsibly. We're under caution for Danny Lasowski, who we think has figured out the rules. And as we've often seen in Saturday night or Friday night short track racing across the country, sometimes a driver will have a problem, stop on track and draw the caution, line up at the back of the field, get his problem fixed and go.
Now, I'm a little puzzled by what I see here lining up for this restart, because what we've been told and what we witnessed at Texas and Daytona is on the restart, the leader, which would be Matt Kenseth, has the front row by himself, and then everyone else has to line up 2 by 2 by 2 behind him. But Kurt Busch in the 97 car, the purple car, all but started right up beside him. He lagged back just a little bit there, but it looks like he may lose the second position, but he's coming back on the outside in the 97 car, but the car gets away from him on the exit of turn 2.
I guess it depends on what your definition of row is. He's going to settle in 4th place. Busch is behind Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, and Ryan Newman. Castroneves working the outside on Travis Quaffle and is going to pay the price. Here comes Quaffle and here comes Dixon. A little thump for the back bumper of the Craftsman Truck Series champ. They're going to go 3 wide. They're going to think about it. They're going to do it.
It's like that outside groove works pretty good in 3 and 4, not too good in 1 and 2, but somebody's going to have to give that in 1 and 2. Looks like Travis Quaffle in the purple 24 gives. He was in the middle.
I don't know what's happened to Scott Dixon, guys, but all of a sudden he's come to life, and he's driving right off in that corner and really making it stick on the bottom.
Castroneves having trouble up top, reels it back in. Lasowski gets him. That'd be for 10th place.
Just remember, Lasowski, he has equal tires with these guys, except these tires are cooler than what those guys have been out there on for about 35, 36 laps.
But Jeff, how long might that be an advantage before his tires come up to full temp?
I would look for it to be maybe 10 laps, especially depends on how he charges the corners early on, how much brake he's using to get down in the corner. Again, like Larry pointed out, cooler tires can be better.
7th place changes hands. Dixon moves up, and there's the bonus at the competition yellow point, 60 laps. These points are important in that right now only 1 point separates the first 4 drivers after 2 races.
And right now, Matt Kenseth would be closing in on the fact of being able to lead the most laps in this race to get those bonus points, which would be 5 bonus points. But he has a trio behind him with Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Ryan Newman in the 12, and Kurt Busch in that 97 car. They are nose to tail, first through 4th.
Then it's a gap back to Scott Sharp in 5th. Kevin Harvick settles in 6th. Scott Dixon in 7th. J.J. Yaley is 8th. Quaffle is 9th, Lasowski 10th, Castroneves and Kinzer.
You're right, though, Jeff. You mentioned him a while ago, Scott Sharp in that 8 car. This would be a good run for him because he comes in here 10th in the points. Not too good, very good finishes in those first 2 races at Daytona and Texas. Scott Sharp in the 8 car.
Sharp in his 3rd IROC season.
And all these IRL boys will be leaving here first thing in the morning and heading back over to Chicago for their race this weekend.
And the World of Outlaws race in California, while all 3 of NASCAR's top divisions are in action here at Richmond. In fact, Travis Quaffle will climb right out of his IROC car and right into his Toyota Tundra.
I've been watching Daniel Lasowski's lap times, and he's definitely running better times than what he was doing early on. So it'd be interesting to see when we get this next competition break if Danny's been kind of like basically playing possum back there? He's already snookered him once tonight, so I'm just wondering, even though he's tied up back in the back of the field, he is still basically second in points as far as this championship chase is concerned for $1 million.
Yes, Jeff, but he's got 7 seconds to make up on the leaders. Wasowski right now a runner-up in the outlaw points. Our front four are starting to come back together. The gap is pretty equal first to fourth, but it is shrinking.
And Larry, I was really wondering whether or not these IROC cars, whether the outside lane here at Richmond, which we've seen work so well in Busch Truck as well as the Nextel Cup Series, really come in and be a player and be a factor as far as the race is concerned. What's going to happen here in the next little bit, whether this outside lane will be used.
Yeah, it's a little early in the race weekend, I think, for it to be in. We had some hard rains here last night and this morning, and we saw a while ago that it looked like it worked a little bit in 3 and 4, but don't seem to be any second group just yet in 1 and 2.
Steve Kinzer in trouble again, down to the apron in turn 3 and headed for pit road. The king of the outlaws having a tough night in Richmond.
And he was 9 laps down after being to pit road earlier. Kinzer came in here 6th in the points, so was not that bad off in points, so he'll take a big hit here tonight at Richmond.
The driver who's gaining ground is Kurt Busch in 4th place. He has now climbed right up to the rear spoiler of Ryan Newman as you ride with him off into turn 1. That distance you see is half a car length.
Watch these 2 guys right here. They're 2 of the guys in the dog fight to stay in the Nextel Cup top 10 points after Saturday night to be in the chase for the Cup, the final 10 races.
Just listening to Kurt's car right there, it seems like it must be working pretty well for him. He just rolls out of the throttle, lets the car just roll off in the middle of the corner. There he had to bump it just a little bit off that corner. But he's very smooth. He rolls into the corner here. As you see him roll off in there, stay right on the bottom of the yellow line, picks the throttle up. Looks like he gains a little bit of ground off of 3 and 4 on the 12-car Ryan Newman.
If he just keeps working him, what he's waiting on is for Ryan Newman just to open that door at the bottom about a half a car length. Where you beat people at Richmond is from the center off. If you can beat them from the center off and ever get that right front fender, that left rear quarter panel, you can beat them into the next corner.
Now these cars you see just ahead on Newman's, they have huge rear spoilers. And the clear spoiler in the center so the driver can see back out the mirror. It's a clear Lexan. With that big a rear spoiler, can you get up under somebody and make them aero loose?
I don't know at these speeds you could, Mike, here at a short track. Mike, you mentioned in the early going about identically prepared cars, and I know it was a challenge for Dave Marcus, Jim Sauter, Jay Sauter to do that at a short track, but the only thing these cars can change is we have a battle shaping up for 3rd with Kurt Busch in the 97 underneath Ryan Newman in the blue 12. Now right here, let's see if he can get underneath him right here, get to the throttle, drag race him down the back straightaway. He should be able to beat him going off into turn 3 now and take that position away. But I guarantee you Ryan Newman won't give up easy out there.
Now we'll get a chance to see whether this upper groove is going to hook up and go like it needs to as he comes off of turn 4 right there. Ryan Newman actually gains a little ground back on him just about to start finish line.
And even though we know we have a competition caution probably in about 6 laps, this is a huge battle here because this could put you possibly on the inside for the restart.
Plus the bonus points, my friend. The bonus points are very important. So this 3rd position has a lot riding on it over these final 6 laps.
Because the bonus points stop at 3rd place at the Comp Yellow.
And it's only 1 point, but 1 point can mean a lot when you look at the top 4 came in here basically in 2 different ties.
And that's why these 2s continue to run side by side. The race to the bonus points is only 5 more laps to go. They can't lead it, can't finish 2nd. They've given up too much ground for that. Their best shot right now is to beat the other guy.
And I just believe eventually the bottom groove with Kurt Busch in the 97 will prevail. But look at the run. Ryan Newman got off, but I think he had to get out of the throttle. His car picked up a push right there. In fact, he had to get out of it again way up on the straightaway, and he loses the position.
One man who'd love to be out there battling for this position is back at the pit wall with Matt Yoakum.
Steve Kinzer is climbing from his race car. Steve, something amiss in the motor?
Yeah, when I come off the corners, it just wouldn't take no fuel. Just sit there and shake and vibrate, and then it clean out about time to get to the flagman. But went back out there thinking maybe it was me choking the car down a little bit, but even though as bad as I was, it wasn't me choking it down. So there's not much we could do.
We're starting to see Steve out now on the dash. A new safety feature in IROC this weekend is called the Race Safe system. It's a caution light up in the control tower. The officials, when they turn on the caution lights, it comes on the dash, Mike. And I know you've been a big proponent of this system for a lot of different series.
Yeah, I think every major series and every short track should have something like this in place, so every driver knows at the instant of caution has no excuse for not knowing, or nothing else can goof that up. The Race Safe system is great at doing that. All right, a lap to go before the yellow at lap 60 for third place.
Now Ryan Newman in the blue 12, he's on the inside of Kurt Busch in the 97 car we watched a while ago, where finally that bottom groove prevailed, so it'll be who pretty much can win the drag race off turn 4 when we do get that caution flag.
At lap 60, I think it was Kurt Busch. See if they put the caution light up, and 60 is the last lap scored. It is. And a Race Safe light goes off on the dash of every one of those cars. Caution is out. This is the competition yellow at lap 60.
Now, unlike most competition yellows, there still will be no pit stop during this competition yellow. It just bunches the field back up.
Now we've still got to sort out, though, who was running third as they crossed the line at lap 60. We'll check that out when we come back. We're under the competition caution to set up the shootout for round 3 in Crown Royal IROC 28. Nice crowd on hand for tonight's Crown Royal IROC 28 round 3 and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series coming up next. Live from Richmond on Speed Channel. Kenseth first across the line at the lap 60 mark. The last lap scored. Jimmy Johnson second. Here's the run to the line for third.
Ooh, that's close.
I am so glad we have
It looks like the 97 car right there. That nose is just ahead of Ryan Newman in the 12. Now this is a special restart here. Matt Kenseth, the leader, he gets the front row by himself. Then everyone back from him, they get to choose. And you see right there, Jimmy Johnson in 48 went to the inside, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 behind the leader.
Boys, they better pull them belts tight, as you like to say, Larry. It's getting ready to get interesting.
This is the 30-lap shootout. We'll see if this inside line prevails.
Now we see Ryan Newman in the 12 gets quite a run off turn 2. This is the first lap after a restart. He knows he needs to try to get by Jimmy Johnson in that 48 just as quick as he can, because they're lined up to the inside of him behind Jimmy Johnson.
The guys that were about 3 abreast off of turn 4 right there with Travis Quaffle outside. Scott Dixon is still 3 wide going into turn 1 and 2.
Boy, Ryan Newman in that 12, he drove that thing down into turn 1 that time, and it stuck. It turned surprisingly.
He did, Larry, but he can't seal the deal. Jimmy Johnson is still dead even underneath him. Behind them, Kurt Busch now looks up to the high side, and Kevin Harvick is itching to get to him.
Behind him is vultures. They're just waiting to open that bottom door.
And you know who's doing the grinning right now, boys? Look at the review. He's saying, guys, have all you want, get all you want, because I'm going the other way.
Yeah, while these guys are side by side, he's getting smaller and smaller.
That's all right. Don't forget that a caution flag evens up the whole field. As still for second place, they're side by side. Now, is there a point at which Newman will have to give this up to save some tire? Oh, turn 2, the wall, close call. Travis Quaffle almost got into the wall in turn 2. Back to second place, where Newman edges in front of Johnson. Now Johnson edges in front of Newman.
Mike, he beats him getting in the corner. He just can't seal the deal from the center out. Look right there how far he goes off in the middle of 1 and 2. But right there, Johnson is able to pick the throttle up in the 48 car so much sooner.
But Ryan Newman is slowly but surely figuring out this outside lane, Larry, and he's starting to make it work a little bit more off the corner each lap.
The more he runs there, the more rubber he puts down there for himself to run in.
Kurt Busch stalking second and third place. And guess what? The whole field is coming to them as they battle side by side.
Definitely Kevin Harvick in the 29. He's coming into the picture. Scott Sharp in the 8 back there. We're riding with Kevin Harvick right now back in the 5th position, watching this battle up there for second.
And watch Kurt Busch. First he's to the outside, then he's to the inside, then he's back to the outside. He's trying to see which lane is going to make the move first, and he's going to follow somebody through.
But you're right, Jeff. Matt Kenseth just driving off into the sunset while these guys are doing this.
Kenseth, the 2.5-second lead to this battle, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And Harvick must be a little bit frustrated. He's only 2 car lengths behind this battle, but he can't get to it.
But just remember, it wasn't that many laps ago. He was back there well over a half a lap down.
But Mike, he may not want to get there. He may say, you know what, that looks like trouble. Let me give myself a little bit of room here, because if they take each other out, I want to have a place to go.
Look at there. He's going to make it 3 wide down the front stretch. Kurt Busch in the 97 car. Somebody's got to give, boys, getting into 1.
And it's Busch who gives.
Now, Ryan Newman got a good run. He's going to complete the pass on the high side off turn 2 just because of being 3 wide going into 1.
And remember, Jeff, we're talking about Kevin Harvick, that 4th car in line. If the spotter says could be trouble ahead, Harvick will say, I'll be there in a second.
But you don't have to tell Kevin Harvick that. He's always looking for somebody to go racing. You know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about racing.
But just remember, they were doing that side-by-side racing without that spotter, with mirrors and feel only.
Matt Kenseth's lead has extended to 3.2 seconds. 2nd place is still the big question. Newman for now. Behind him, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Scott Dixon.
But Mike, take a look. The 12 car of Ryan Newman right now, he's gotten clear of Jimmy Johnson, and he's almost 2 tenths faster than Johnson and a 10th faster than the leader, Kenseth.
Yeah, once Newman in the 12 finally completed that pass, he's starting to pull away just a little bit. But he's going to need a caution to get him all the way to Kenseth, I think.
Ryan Newman trying to cement the point lead. 1 race remains this fall in Atlanta. $1 million on the line. $18 laps to go, and Kenseth's lead holds steady at 3.2 seconds over Newman, Johnson, Busch, Harvick, Scott Sharp, and Dixon will be back for the finish. $13 laps to go at Richmond and IROC. Saturday on Speed, the ARCA REMAX Series at Chicagoland Speedway. Frank Kimmel on the run for a record 6th championship. Live on Speed, the ARCA REMAX Series, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Matt Kenseth has piled up a 3.2-second lead. These cars, remember, are identically prepared, and over the last 6 laps, Kenseth's lead has neither increased nor decreased. 2 through 5 have stayed the same. The big transfer at 6 spots: Scott Sharp, J.J. Yaley, Scott Dixon, Elio Castroneves, Daniel Lasowski.
And J.J. Yaley just got by Scott Dixon in the 1 car. Remember, J.J. Yaley, if he had been here for any practice, he looks like he has a pretty good car. He would have started on the pole for this race. So I'm sure he wished, and a lot was due to Mother Nature, the weather, that he didn't make it here for practice.
Castroneves hunting Dixon. Goes just a little bit high.
But you know, Mike, we were explaining earlier about identically prepared. The only thing these drivers can change on these cars is things to do with their cockpit. Seat adjustment, pedals, steering, things of that nature.
Comfort items.
We've got 9 laps to go, so if you're holding anything, now's the time to kind of cut it loose and see if you can reel yourself in a position or 2 and gain some ground.
You know, the guy that has surprised me just a little bit is Kevin Harvick in that 29 car. He has faded just a little bit from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Dixon under pressure from Castroneves.
Larry, I still go back and say, the contact that he had between he and Dixon may have affected that race car. Even though he's able to close up on those guys when they got back in single file, he couldn't get them. Right now, we're getting ready to get a challenge from the, looks like, for 3rd place here. Outside is going to be Kurt Busch trying to make a move on Jimmy Johnson off of turn 4.
Well, he knew if he just kept following Jimmy Johnson in the 48, that's what he was going to do, was follow him. I don't have anybody putting pressure behind me. Let me go up there and try something. And he got a good run off turn 2 down the back straightaway. They're side by side.
Busch had to burp it just a little bit coming off the corner to keep from running out of racetrack, but he's going to wheel around Jimmy Johnson.
His car works good up there right now, it looks like, in that second groove, Mike.
He's got
Johnson's
6 laps.
Give it up, though.
Nope, 6 laps to go.
And, of course, like Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman looks in his mirror and said, "Atta boy, y'all run side by side. I'll just check on out here on you guys."
Now, that group was 2.6 behind Kenseth, and they stay the same. And Kevin Harvick unable to capitalize.
Kurt Busch in the 97, as we watch our leader, Matt Kenseth, he definitely wins the award for running side by side the most of the race, as he's been that way most of the race tonight.
Third place in doubt with 4 to go. And Busch is going to complete the pass if he can just come down in front of Jimmy Johnson.
But
Not this time.
And look at the rotors glow. They are definitely using those carbon brakes now. They know there's only 4 laps to go. Watch them glow right here as we go off into turn 3 on the right front of Jimmy Johnson's car. That's the rotor glowing on that car. Great shot, guys.
It's about probably somewhere between 950 and 1,200 degrees, depending on how hard they're getting on these brakes.
The big gainer in the points tonight will be Matt Kenseth. He gets the bonus for leading the most laps, the bonus for leading at the competition yellow, and if he wins this, he's going to move into second in the Crown Royal IROC points, second to Matt Kenseth. There is Kenseth, or rather Newman, second to Newman. Newman 2.7 seconds back. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Scott Sharp, the first half dozen. 2 to go.
Yeah, this would be a good night for Kurt Busch, who came in here 5th in points, only 9 points out of the lead in that 97 car.
And after Atlanta, someone will get $1 million. White flag. This is it. The field not spread out, but the position's pretty well decided. If nobody has a problem, Kenseth, Newman, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick will be the front 5. Climbing to second in the points, edging 1 step closer to the $1 million, Matt Kenseth wins round 3, the first ever Crown Royal IROC short track race.
Ryan Newman second, Kurt Busch third, Jimmy Johnson 4th, Kevin Harvick 5th. Looks like Scott Sharp will be 6th, J.J. Yaley 7th, Casper Nevis 8th, Dixon 9th, Lasotski 10th, Quaffle 11th, and Steve Kinzer, after falling out, will finish 12th.
Well, we didn't see the flailing fiberglass, but you don't see a whole lot of 3-wide racing here at Richmond, and we saw a good bit of it tonight. We'll see Matt Kenseth in victory lane after this. Speed Channel coverage of the Crown Royal IROC Series from Richmond is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion. Drink responsibly. For the 3rd time in 2004, a first-time IROC race winner. Matt Yoakum's in victory lane with Matt Kenseth.
The last time we had 3 first-time winners to start off a year, 1989. And Matt Kenseth, 6 straight first-time winners in this series. Your first win, what's it mean to win in this series?
It's cool. It's an honor just to be invited to this series. It's an honor to be on the same track as Steve Kinzer, I think. So that's really cool. And this is something I've always wanted as one of these trophies. It's cool to be a Gatorade victory lane. And it's cool that Crown Royal sponsored this this whole series, too. I get to do a lot of work with Diageo. And everybody should remember to be a champion and drink responsibly.
His first year in the series, he scores his first win.
And he moves to second in the point standings. The race 3 results look like this. There's the first half dozen. As we head for Atlanta and the balance of the field.
Not tonight. Danny Lasotski was wanting after his win at Texas.
And the point standings look like this. Ryan Newman up 4 on Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson. Kevin Harvick 7 points back. And in Atlanta, somebody's going to get $1 million.
The fastest race on the NASCAR circuit. But remember, Ryan Newman will start at the rear of the field chasing that $1 million.
But we're going to be at Atlanta, guys, and that's one of those places you can definitely run 2 wide and 3 wide if you need to.
Wide open.
Wide open.
Coming up next, join Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, bringing ready for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's coming up next. Congratulations to Matt Kenseth, first-time Crown Royal IROC winner.